Greetings and welcome to this Word of Breath conversation with myself, Lotus. Before we get started on our topic today, I invite you to take a deep breath with me. Thank you. So, today the topic is healing through motherly love. So, as we all know, this Sunday is Mother's Day, and Thursday we have a beautiful full moon in Scorpio, which is making the energy of compassionate and healing available to us. And so this is a time where our families, our homes, and our relationships are coming into sharper focus for us. And so this makes it a great time for us to bring up the conversation topic addressing our mother wounds or generational curses. And if you've never heard the term generational curses, a generational curse is when pain is passed down through generations. Some of us feel as if we bear the pain of our ancestors, especially when it comes to topics of social or racial injustice. And so that's just on a larger scale. But more specifically, in this topic, we're talking about the pain, the hardships, the struggles that we may inherit from our mothers and our grandmothers, the women in our family. Because that is those people, our mothers, our grandmothers, all the women in our family are those responsible for bringing unborn spirits into this physical realm. That's the portal between the spiritual and the physical realm. They hold a very important and divine purpose in this lifetime, and it's a great time, with Sunday being Mother's Day, to address the pain that we may have experienced from them, that we may have that may have been passed down to us from them. And so this pain can include the pain of comparison. It can look like the pain of guilt. It can be the pain of feeling the need to remain small in order to fit in or to be accepted or to even be loved. And so all of this pain that we can inherit, or even the pain that we experience during childhood, can manifest in our life in so many different ways. And so these manifestations can look so different for all of us. And so I'm going to go through a few of the ways that generational curses and mother wounds can manifest in our lives and can play a role in our morals and our beliefs, or just, the ways, the structures, the mental structures that we have built up in our mind over these years. And so some of those manifestations can look like a high tolerance of poor treatment. Some of us are very good at being around people who do not value us or do not value that which we give to them. They do not, they aren't concerned with our well-being. But we are very tolerant of being around that type of energy and those type of people. Wondering why. Was your mother ever tolerant of being around those type of people, especially with our ancestors having to have been around a lot of different people of different races who were discriminating against them. I'm sorry. And so it's a lot of different ways in which that pain can manifest. This pain can also look like emotional caretaking. Some of us feel that we are responsible for our mother's wounds, or not just our mothers, but the people around, the emotions of others around us. Sometimes we're walking on eggshells not to trigger a specific person, a specific emotion in a specific person. So we become this emotional caretaking person, which can often lead to us neglecting our own emotional needs, our own mental needs as well. And so we have emotional caretaking, high tolerance of poor treatment. It can also look like always feeling competitive with other women, and not just with other women, but feeling competitive maybe with your siblings and your family. There's always some type of competition with other people that you feel within yourself, the pain of comparison, always comparing yourself to others. That is another way that generational curses and mother wounds can manifest in our lives. And one more I do want to say is it can also look like self-sabotage. Um, for some of us, we have experienced this pain directly from our mothers or from whoever held the motherly figure in our lives. And so we experience verbal, emotional, and mental abuse. Some of us have experienced that in our childhood. Some of us have been yelled at consistently. Some of us have been just always got on you bad kid. You always into something. You're doing this, you're doing that. You can't never do right. And just some of the things that can be yelled at us during our childhood years that can stick and that can actually end up hurting us, pain that we carry and that play a part in our actions as adults and our morals and beliefs of ourselves. And so when you get into just self-reflecting on the wounds and the pain that you deal with and realizing, how it has manifested in yourself, then we get to this place of acknowledgement when we are able to acknowledge the problem within. And I always say that acknowledgement is the first step to change. We must know what it is. We must come face to face with that which is hindering us or which is holding us back from where we are trying to get. And in this case, we are trying to get to a motherly love, unconditionally love type of space, a safe, secure space that we can hold with ourselves and with others. And so some of us have experienced that hurt directly from our mothers, motherly figures, parents in general, or from others, friends, co-workers, it doesn't matter. And on top of that, some of us have confused our loyalty with our mothers or our friends, co-workers. We've confused that loyalty to that person with the loyalty to their wounds and their emotions. Some of us are more loyal to especially for my mother's boys, my mama boys, my mama's girls, daughters, whatever y'all call it, have confused being loyal to our mother's struggles and wounds with being loyal to her. And one thing I will say is that true unconditional love never requires you to neglect your own emotional needs, your own mental and emotional well-being. True unconditional love will never require you to neglect that. And if you find yourself neglecting those things in order to be loyal to your mom or your coworker or your sister or your cousin, then there is some self-reflecting that needs to be done. So in reality is that we cannot hold a space for the power of divine feminine if we do not address the places within where we have felt abandoned or disappointed by the divine feminine. The divine feminine. So, meaning that we cannot move on and grow to hold that space of unconditional love for ourselves and for others if we do not address the pain that was passed down or the pain that may have been inflicted on us in our childhood years. It's important to go within and to address that because we must realize that our first encounter with the goddess was with our mothers. When we were first conceived to when our heart first started beating in her womb to the day she gave us the breath of life, all the way up until adulthood, when she raised us up through childhood all the way into adulthood. All of that time span is our first experience with the goddess, the divine feminine ever. And so that experience, that first experience that we had with the goddess, is very significant when it comes to how we will grow into the goddess within ourselves. For our women, how we will come to occupy that space of motherly and unconditional love within ourselves. So we must go back. We must go back to understand, to learn, not to change, but to understand, to learn, and to grow in order to be able to move forward, to be able to hold the space that we need and that others need, others around us need, especially our children, nieces, nephews, grandkids need, in order to feel that unconditionally motherly love. And so here we have crossed that threshold of becoming aware of that which needs to be healed, or that which needs to be talked about more, discussed more in the family. And now we are at this threshold of forgiving and healing, or seeking forgiveness for my mothers who are watching. And so when we get into the healing process of healing these wounds, it's important to separate the human mother from the archetype mother. And what I mean by this is, like I was saying before, our mother, our experience with our mother is our first experience with the goddess, with the divine feminine. That's our first taste of what divine feminine is. That's the first image that we receive. And so we have to separate the human mother from the archetype, because the archetype is described as the goddess, this spirit that was put here on this earth to be a portal between two different realms, to play such a significant role in the cycle of life, is a whole different separate from the skin, the body that was assigned to the spirit to occupy in this life. This skin, this body that we know as our mother, that we know as our motherly figure, is something that comes with imperfections. It comes with temptations. It comes with lessons. It comes with all these different things that cause all these different emotions. We're talking about the carnal body separating from the spiritual body, the spiritual man. And so when we make this separation between the human mother and the archetype, then we can come to a place of a deeper relation with our motherly figures. Because sometimes we hold our mothers to such a high standard that we feel like a mother should be treating her kids like this. This is what a mother should look like. This is what she should be like. This is how she should talk. We completely just box mothers in of what we feel like it needs to be like. And the moment that they're not that for us, we're disappointed, we're sad, we're mad, we're angry, we're resentful, right? But separating the human mother from the archetype mother, it brings us more to a deep relation, because we recognize that our mothers, our parents in general, were children to their parents, just as we are children to them. And we all make mistakes, and I don't call them mistakes. We all learn lessons from our decisions. You know, we all come with our own set of imperfections. We all come with our own set of temptations, you know, and we're all learning. So separating the human mother from the archetype brings a deeper understanding in relation. And then we can get into deconstructing the false beliefs and structures that have been built over time for those who have suffered from verbal abuse as children. Deconstructing, and not just verbal, but also just watching your mother's actions as well. Deconstructing those false beliefs that you are not enough, that you cannot be your full self, that you have to dim yourself down, or deconstructing the false, any false beliefs that have been built up over time that have come as a result of how you have been treated by your mother, that have, or how you have been talked to, what you have heard, all of those things. And when we talk about deconstructing, this is a mental thing. We have to deconstruct a lot of things that have been in our mind, that beliefs and morals that have been in our mind for years and years and years. It is going to take finding the unconditional love within yourself. It's going to take you being the mother to yourself that you needed when you were younger. We're going to have to play mother to ourselves to heal from these wounds. We're going to have to be that space of unconditional love that we so seek. Because how can you ask for a certain unconditional motherly love from others if you cannot give that in return? You have to know and feel it for yourself when you're giving it in order to be able to receive it and know how to receive it, you know. And so we got to find that unconditional love within ourselves. And a big part of unconditional love for me is affirmations. Affirmations are very great for deconstructing or reprogramming the mind. Why? Because that which we speak or which we hear back to ourselves play an important role in that which we believe. Just taking the media, for example, you know, you have the radio, that's which we see. All of those see, hear, all of our senses play a part in that which we eventually start to believe, we start to shift towards. And so repeating these affirmations of unconditional love, for motherly and unconditional love to yourself, whether it be daily, whether it be weekly, or however often you want to do it, it makes a totally difference. Sorry. And so here are 4 affirmations that I have come up with that have been very helpful to me on my journey of healing my mother wounds and in my generational curses. So, I am not my mother's mistakes, pain, or hardships. I release the pain of guilt, shame, and comparison. I am all the love that I seek from others. I forgive my parents for not being what I needed growing up. So those are 4 good affirmations that I felt were really good for healing the mother wound, healing generational curses. So when we take the time to heal these wounds, it helps us be able to hold that space of unconditional love, of motherly love for ourselves and also for other women and girls to express their pain and healing as well. When you bring up this conversation, you realize that you're not alone, that a lot of women are going through the same thing, you know? And so it's important to bring this topic up when you're sitting with your mom or your grandma may be there, and not just with family, but also with our friends, our co-workers. We all have it in common. This could also be helpful for mothers. It could also be helpful for mothers who are watching this, because not everybody is aware of generational curses. So if you're just now learning what generational curse is as a mother, now you're more aware of how your emotions can affect those around you and how it could play a much bigger role than you think. And if you're pregnant, it's very This is very helpful because now you're aware of how the emotion that you experience during pregnancy, during parenthood, can be passed down through your child in so many different ways. Okay? And so when we heal this wound, we are able to love ourselves unconditionally, which soon touches our mothers and heals them too. When you start to work with these wounds and you start to go through your healing journey of healing those mother wounds and generational curses, you will find that you're going to be a mother to a lot of other people, and maybe even to some people who you never thought you would be a mother to, maybe even your own mother. Sometimes our mothers are learning things from our daughters, you know? It's a beautiful thing to see. You never know who your story could help, who your healing journey could inspire and support. And we are all capable of embodying that unconditional motherly love in which we seek. So I invite us all to find the mother within all the women that you know in this lifetime right now. Find the mother within your sister. Find the mother within your grandmother, within your friends, your co-workers. Find the mother within all the women you know, because you don't have to be a mother to a child or actually physically have kids in order to embody the energy of a mother. I invite us all to tap into that energy of motherly love, of unconditional love this week as we move through the full moon energy, as we move through that Mother's Day energy as well. Let's all heal. Let's all move forward together because that's what it's all about. So I invite you to my YouTube channel called The Pond. That is my virtual location for right now. This is where all of my Word of Breath conversations will be posted. I will also be offering up yoga sessions, classes, privates. I will also be doing meditation, sound healing, and more. So stay tuned. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. Like, comment, subscribe. It all will be appreciated. Peace and blessings to you on today. Namaste.